3D printing tool changes in 2026 seemingly are now becoming a thing. It only took a $20 million Kickstarter from Snapmaker, a 5-year-old Prusa XL, and the slow realization that wasting half a kilo of filament just to print a tiny multicolour frog maybe is not the future. But here we are. This is the Flashforge Creator 5, a CoreXY 4-tool head multimaterial multicolour 3D printer that wants to bring tool changing to a much more affordable space. And today I'm going to unbox it, build it, work out what's missing, try to get it running, and see whether this is the start of something properly exciting, or just another prototype that needs a little bit more time in the oven. Friends, you know the drill. Let's get straight on into this one.
You are watching a master at work.
Now, this is the Flashforge Creator 5, and it's one of the more interesting printers that I've had in the studio recently because it's not another bed slinger, it's not another enclosed CoreXY, and it's not another AMS-style filament swapping system. This is a tool changer. And this means instead of one hot end constantly purging, cutting, retracting, wiping, and wasting material, this printer can physically pick up a different tool and use them independently. So in theory, you get faster color changes, less waste, cleaner multi-material prints, and the ability to use different nozzles or different materials in a much more practical way. Now, this machine, I believe, is a prototype machine or certainly an early beta test machine. And the reason I think that becomes quite clear as it is missing a couple of key components. Now, it's nothing catastrophic, but enough to make this video a little bit more interesting than just say, here's a printer, it prints a benchy, and goodbye. There's always a gap between designing something on your screen and actually holding it in your hands. PCBWay.com makes that transition simple. Whether it's a custom PCB, a CNC machine part, a 3D print, or a sheet material component, you upload your file, customize the specs, and they take care of production. The process is clearly laid out. You can follow each step, and it's the straightforward way to turn something digital into something real. Check them out down in the description at PCBWay.com. So this is the Flashforge Creator 5. It's a CoreXY 3D printer with 4 independent tool heads. The build volume here is 256 by 256 by 256 millimeters. Now, you would, of course, seen this in my video at TCT where we spoke to Jessica, and the machine looked pretty interesting. So the specs here are pretty simple. It has a claimed travel speed of 600 millimeters per second, print speed of around 300 millimeters per second, acceleration up to 30k, a 320-degree hot end, and 120 on the heated bed. It uses standard 1.75 filament. It has an open frame, certainly in the case of the Creative 5, which is basically aimed at printing materials like PLA, PETG, TPU, support materials, silk filaments, and some carbon-filled versions like PLACF and PETGCF. We also have the Creator 5 Pro, which gives an added enclosure, chamber heating, and filtration. And that's really the version you're going to be looking at if you're thinking more seriously about engineering materials. But for this one, it's the standard Creative 5. It's all about tool changing, color, mixing materials, and low waste printing. And the reason that tool changes are exciting is pretty simple. Most multicolor printers today are not really multicolor printers in the cleanest possible sense. They are single nozzle printers that are very good at changing filament. And that works, but it comes with some inherent problems. You get purge waste, you get color contamination, you get slower print times, you get towers, you get poop, and you get a mountain of plastic sadness either down the back of it or to the side of it. So if you want red, it picks red. If you want white, well, it parks the red and picks up the white. And that's the dream. Cleaner changes, less waste, less faff, and potentially more flexibility. But the challenge is that tool changes are mechanically more complicated. The docking has to be accurate, the offsets have to be right, the slicer has to understand what's going on, and the firmware has to behave itself. So it isn't all about having 4 hot ends bolted to a printer. This is about whether the whole system actually works. So during the unboxing, it certainly felt like an early unit. Now, while there isn't loads to assemble, it's definitely more involved than you get with some of the more popular plug-and-play brands. You've got the screen, the tool docks, the spool holders, nozzle blockers, and a few parts that make the tool changing system work. And to be fair, I actually quite like seeing some of this because it helps you understand how the machine functions. You can see where the tool heads live, how they park, and how the printer moves between them. But then, of course, we hit the first issue. The build plate seems to be missing. Luckily for me, I have a spare iBoss plate that fits well enough to get me going, but though obviously isn't meant for this printer. And then we hit what I thought was a second missing part, which was the nozzle wipe. At the time, I couldn't find it, and in the footage here, you can see me looking around for something that clearly should be there, but isn't. And with a tool changer, of course, that nozzle wipe is going to matter, because cleaning that part makes the whole system reliable. I don't want to beat Flashforge up too much on this one, but the nozzle wipe wasn't in the box. It was actually on the printer, but in a completely different place, lost kind of down into a corner. So it was found, it's been reinstalled, and working perfectly well now. So what about the positioning of this printer against the Snapmaker, the Prusa XL, the Prusa CoreXY Index, and anything else that might also be in the pipeline? Now, the timing of this printer is actually pretty interesting because tool changes are suddenly everywhere. For years, the Prusa XL was the obvious reference point, and it proved that desktop tool changing could work, but it was also big, premium, and expensive machine. The XL was a proper active tool changer where the machine physically picks the complete tool head, each with its own hot end and nozzle. Then the Snapmaker came along with the U1, and whether you backed it or not, you can't ignore exactly what happened there. Snapmaker showed that there is a massive demand for cheaper, cleaner, low-waste ways of doing multicolour printing. Their own Kickstarter page listed the U1 at the early bird price of $749 with a possible effective price of $679 for deposit holders, and the campaign went on to raise over $20.6 million. And now Prusa is coming back into this space with the CoreXY IDEX system with Bondtech. So suddenly the conversation is not, do you want an AMS-style filament changer? It's becoming, do you want a filament swapping tool changer, IDEX, or full multi-tool machine? And that's sort of where the Flashforge Creator 5 becomes interesting, because it's not trying to be a Prusa XL. It isn't trying to be the most premium tool changer on the market, and it isn't quite the same thing as the Snapmaker U1 or the Prusa CoreXY IDEX either. This is Flashforge bringing a 4-tool-headed CoreXY machine to a more budget-friendly space. Now, I do think we need to be careful when we talk about price, because all of these machines are a little bit different. The base cost is one thing. The cost with all the tools, the modules, the accessories, the shipping, the taxes, the upgrades is another thing entirely. And this is where the pricing gets a little bit awkward, because you can't really compare these like for like. The Prusa XL, of course, gives you a large build volume and up to 5 tool heads, and that still is a big win. But it's a proper premium tool changer, and the size of this thing makes it stand out. But outside of the Chinese market, that premium comes at a cost. Depending on how you configure it and where you want to start adding enclosures and options and extras, you could be realistically looking anything from $2,500 all the way up to $6,000. So the XL is not really competing for the cheap end of the market. It wins on size, maturity, and that bigger build volume and multi-tool experience. But then you've got the Snapmaker U1. And honestly, I do love that machine. The bugs seem to have been worked through, and most people now appear to be having a good time with it. And certainly from my own experience, it's a really enjoyable machine to use. But outside of a deal, you're still going to be looking at right now at $899. And again, that's before you start nozzle upgrades, lids, accessories, shipping, taxes, or whatever else you might need to add in later. So the U1 is still a very strong option, but it's still not about the headline price. And that's where we get the Flashforge Creator 5. This version that we have here comes in around $699, which immediately makes it interesting. But if I'm being completely honest, I think that most people looking at this machine would probably go for the Creator 5 Pro instead. And that starts at $849. And really, if you had the choice, I'd probably go with that version. Because once you start talking about tool changes, material options, and actually wanting to use the machine long term, the Pro version just makes more sense. So it isn't really about this one's cheap and this one's more expensive. In my opinion, it's more about what each machine is trying to be. The Prusa XL is the big premium tool changer, whereas the Snapmaker U1 is the polished, consumer-friendly, low-waste machine that lots of people are already enjoying. The Prusa CoreXY Index is Prusa's next big move in the tool-changing arms race, and, well, it's expensive. And the Flashforge Creator 5 feels like it could sit underneath all of those with a more affordable way to do proper tool changing. No filament swapping, not one nozzle doing everything, but actual separate tool heads. And that's really what makes this machine very interesting, because Flashforge can tighten up the software, improve the UI, sort out the documentation, and give this machine a little more polish. Then the Creator 5, and probably more importantly, the Creator 5 Pro, could become a very compelling budget option in the market, suddenly getting very competitive. So there we go, tool changes for the win. Go and buy one right now. Links are down in the description. However, things aren't that simple, because tool changers are only good if they work reliably. Four tool heads sounds brilliant on paper, but it also means four times the calibration, four times the hardware to manage, four times potential sources of problems, and a much higher demand on the slicer and potential firmware. So, what I'm really looking for with the Creator 5 isn't necessarily perfection, certainly not yet. What I'm looking for is evidence the foundation is good. Does the motion system feel solid? Yes. Do the tool heads dock properly? Yes. Is the frame rigid enough? Seemingly. Does the software feel like it understands the hardware? For the most part, yes. Does this feel like a printer that could become great with upgrades? Yes, and that's probably the fairest way to judge it. And to be completely honest, for a beta test machine, which I think this is, we really haven't had as many problems as I maybe was expecting. Now, after using this printer for several weeks, there are a few extra things that I wanted to point out. Some of them are small, some of them are slightly annoying, and some of them are just reminders that this is still a very early machine. The first one is the purge location, which is the front right of the machine. So when the printer is loading new filament, it needs somewhere for it to purge, and at the moment it does it at the front of the printer. And this feels a little bit awkward and a bit odd because there really isn't a proper way of collecting the waste unless you put some sort of tray underneath it. Now, obviously I like the idea that this printer is trying to reduce waste, and it's one of the main reasons that tool changes are interesting in the first place. But when this machine does need to purge, it would be nice if it had somewhere more obvious for it to go. And at the moment it feels a little bit like, here's your waste. Good luck. Now I'm just getting started. There's also no automatic filament loading system, and there's no automatic cutting blade either. So you physically have to click the cutting blade yourself. Again, none of that is necessarily a deal breaker, but it does remind you that this is not as polished as some of the more expensive or more refined systems that are out there. The user interface and the screen also feels a little bit lumpy as well, where of course it does work, but it doesn't feel fully finished just yet. And with a tool changer, or any 3D printer for that matter, you want a machine that clearly tells you what it's doing, what it needs, and what's changed when you update things. It still feels like a very early unit. Missing a build plate, no USB stick, crooked USB port, all point towards the machine needing a little bit more final polish before leaving the factory. Flashforge also lists support for some more demanding filaments, but on an open frame version, I think some of those materials would still be a challenge. A hot nozzle is one thing, but a controlled print environment is another. For those more spicier materials, I think the Creator 5 Pro makes much more sense because it gives you that enclosure, chamber heating, and filtration. So I feel like I've given this machine a little bit of a hard time, but it's really far from the truth. What I'm trying to show you here is ultimately what the options are out there in the industry and really what Flashforge are trying to bring to the party. So there certainly are some positives, one being it printed really, really well. Check this out. You can see from the prints here, which are from our friends over at STL Flicks, and honestly, the results came out really, really nicely. The detail is good, the colours look clean, and over the time I've been using it, I haven't actually had any failed prints to complain about, and that's a big positive. The main issues that I ran into weren't really print quality issues, they were more around user experience. One thing that I seemed to run into a few times was the colour selection side of things. It wasn't always as smooth as I'd want it to be. And for most of my testing, I actually kept the machine offline and just used the USB port to transfer the files. But once the files were on the machine and the prints were running, the Creator 5 did a solid job. And that's what gives me confidence in the hardware. The tool heads themselves feel well built, they don't look like flimsy add-ons, and from stock you're getting wear-resistant nozzles. And that's a nice touch, certainly if you're planning to run more abrasive materials like carbon fiber filled PLA or PETG. Also, I like the fact that Flashforge are using a fork of Orca slicer because Orca has become so familiar now for everybody. And of course, that's what most manufacturers are moving into. And it makes the machine easier to understand if you've already used the modern slicers. So yes, this machine might have some rough edges. The UI might need some work. The documentation might need some work. The color selection process could be smoother. But for actual printing, that was excellent, which is why I'm still really positive about this machine. Because underneath the early unit weirdness, there's a very capable printer here. It produces great results. It didn't give me a string of failed prints, and the hardware feels like a solid foundation. And that's what makes the Creator 5 very interesting. So there we go. I think it pretty much wraps up the Creator 5 experience. I do like the printer. I'm going to continue to use the printer. I want to thank STL Flicks specifically for allowing me to use their models inside of this video. So again, links for them will be down in the description. Polymaker filaments as well. Again, thank you guys for providing the filament for today. Flashforge, of course, have got some very interesting printers coming out. That CJ270, the inkjet printer. Looks amazing. But what do you think about this printer? Let me know in the comment section down below if you think tool changes are making waves inside of 3D printing, or if it's just a blip. Again, let me know what you think. Guys, we will see you next time. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We will see you next time. Bye for now.
You are watching a master at work.